And we're back. Day 123 of the winter cut. Still kind of feeling like balls from the diet, which is really no surprise at this point. And a little bit stressed, a little bit short for time because I'm traveling tomorrow and kind of wishing for scheduling reasons that I didn't have to train right now, but we gotta get her in, so let's go do it. And something that came up in the team yesterday was like, what do you do when you are feeling stressed, you are feeling overwhelmed? The day did not go to plan and you really don't feel like training or being in the gym. And I think like the best answer I can give is that you just gotta get in there, get the ball rolling, go with an open mind. And like my goal right now is I don't want to be here, but I know that if I do get started, like I'm gonna feel better than when I walked in. So that's what we're doing. Don't really have time to warm up, so we're just gonna get rolling. But something that came up in the team yesterday is like, what do you do when you've had a day that doesn't go to plan? You're feeling stressed, you're feeling overwhelmed, you don't want to train, you're worried that it's going to bleed into your performance. And I think the best answer is like, who gives a shit how you feel? Just get in there, get moving, get rolling. And as long as you go in with an open mind and don't let your feelings dictate what you are going to do, you're usually going to end up feeling a hell of a lot better than you thought you would once you get moving. So that is what we are trying to get going right now. Miana's trying to call me on my watch, so I'm gonna answer that. Hey, what's up? And something that helps that objective is like right now I'm kind of mountain dogging it with a little bit of easier movement isolation stuff to get into her, not for the sake of pre-fatigue, but just because starting with this guy is a hell of a lot more friendly than starting with a bigger pressing movement. So we're getting a pump, getting the ball rolling. Mood is starting to elevate because pumps are awesome. I don't care what the mechanical tension nerds say. And getting a pump is the precursor to creating mechanical tension, so we'll keep digging in. One more, because that machine feels really nice. And we're stepping back a little bit for this one to touch a tiny bit of fronties in addition to the sides. And it's like, I don't want to totally blast my front delts right now because my main movement focus for today is front delt on overhead machine. But if I can get them a little bit warm here, it's going to feel better when I get into that actual overhead pressage since I didn't do any sort of real warm up. So yeah, digging into pump, digging into tension. I am so spoiled here because like every time I travel to a cool gym, I'm always so excited when there is one of those side raise machines. And now that I have two at my disposal here, like it's just freaking fun. And to complete the kind of work and kind of warming up, we're gonna come over here and crank out a few sets of face pulls. No idea how heavy this stack is gonna feel, so starting a little bit conservative. That's actually plenty. I should know by now that the max pump shit is very heavy, but as always, trying to round in the bottom, create thoracic extension at the top, pack my head all nice and backwards. And the reason I'm doing this is try to incorporate that thoracic extension into the rear delt trap rhomboid contraction. Makes face pulls really good for learning how to and improving your upper back set on squats. I had to shut up because it's getting kind of hard. And it's like those little intent tweaks when you're trying to get accessories to carry over to the power lifts can make such a freaking big difference because so many people, when I ask them what they're doing for their upper back, what they're doing for their squat set, they'll be like, yeah, I'm doing face pulls. And then I look at their face pull and it's like, no freaking wonder it's not working because you're just pulling to your face and not getting any of that upper back integration into it. So a little bit of rounding, a little bit of extension goes a very long way. And it's like, as a powerlifting coach, it's not like I'm some magical wizard with the perfect program that makes me good at what I do. It's the fact that I'm paying attention to all of the little stuff that people are doing so I can call them out on their bullshit in order to make them better. So if you're not making the progress that you think you should be or don't know how to reach the next level, hit the link below and join the team, because my whole goal there is to help you figure out exactly what you need to be doing to get better by giving you individualized coaching on every single thing that you're doing every single day. And it's like, if everyone watching this knew how sick the team was, they'd already be in there. So hit the link and sign up before the price increases again. I do get that face pulls are not like the best rear delt specific exercise, but that's what my machine fly is for on my Monday rear delt slot. It's like face pull versus that. I think face pull is going to be way better for squat carryover. So even if it isn't like the best rear delt hypertrophy dealio you can do, still worth doing in my books if you are a power lifter. And now that the warmy-uppy stuff is over, I'm gonna get ready for the main event, which is gonna be this guy today. And the reason I'm running this guy right now is, like barbell overhead press, I do love that for bench carryover, but the thing is that on a barbell overhead press, I'm so limited by like my ability to feel like I'm not falling asleep pushing a heavy ass barbell over my head, that machine press ends up being a much better option for me, just because not limited by stability, not limited by falling asleep, so I can just contract hard, and we gotta go up because that was very light. And I have been going almost full stack as work set number 1, and then full stack for work set number 2, but I think like I'm actually feeling a lot spiffier than I anticipated at this point. So if this feels really good, we'll just go a couple reps and make it a feeler, and then go full stack for 2 work sets. And I'm just rambling now, so do the set time. Yeah, we're going up. So hopefully full stack here feels good enough that I want to do full stack again for second set, aiming at least 6. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I think we're going again. And if we got 8 on the first one, we're aiming as close to that as we can. Guess we're settling for 7. And I don't know about you guys, but I am definitely pleasantly surprised with how well that went, considering how I'm feeling today. But like, go in with an open mind, do your best, and you might surprise yourself with what your best actually ends up being. And on that note, we are now moving on to the therapeutic, feely good pec and shoulder slot, which as usual is going to be some dips. And I'm well aware that dips do get a bad rap for shoulders, because if you're not ready for them, they really can bang you up. But the thing is that if you can build your shoulders up to the point where they can handle dips, and if you can progress dips and you can do more and more and more and more, your shoulders are going to be way better off for it. And that's why I always keep them in, because they're so good for that range of motion access, plus making sure my serratus is there to hold my shoulder blades to the rib cage. And I think the biggest thing that these dips do for my bench is that serratus catch in the bottom, so that my scabs aren't flopping off and I have a stable platform to press off of. And if you're not at the point where loading dips feels like it could be a good option for you, and just doing a dip alone feels like it might be really sketchy, like, you can start putting your hands on a couple of plyo boxes for push-ups so you can get into that stretch position, push all the way out of it, and then just lower boxes down, make the push-ups more aggressive, add some band to the push-up, and then work your way into an assisted dip, and then just like progressively decrease assistance as you get stronger, as you adapt to the position, until jamming them on them body weight feels really good. because I know that I harp on this all the time, but it's like, if a position feels vulnerable, don't just avoid it because it feels vulnerable. Find a way to make it better so you can actually do more with it, and that's going to be the best protective measure you can have against getting that thing jacked up. And we're back on this stupidly hard tricep extension, mostly because I really don't like the fact that Darrell beat me on it, so we're going to try to progress here again today. Like, one plate's starting to feel like no big deal, so maybe there is hope. Still, absolutely zero hope for getting off of it without smashing myself in the back, though. Okay, 2 plates, which felt like it was going to kill me the first time I used this, so if it goes well, we'll only do a couple and go up for a work set. I think that was okay enough to go 2 out of 10. And plan here is going to be aiming for at least 4. So let's wake up and crank. Kind of got to cheat with the foot pedal to get her out of the bottom, but this thing is egregiously heavy. You know what? Not good, but after the first week on this sucker, like, I'm stoked with that. And it's like, that is an example of an accessory where I'm okay with moving weight because positioning leverages makes it favorable to kind of treat that like a move weight type movement. So now that's over with, we're gonna first make fun of Joel for still being lighter than me. Then we're going to be a little more precise with our quality of contraction. Again, zero clue how heavy to make this, so I'm kind of basing where I put the pin on the stack off of what I've been doing for front delt raises, and I think it should be kind of appropriate. But trying to make sure I'm positioning myself so I'm getting a shit ton of tension at the bottom, and then just flexing out of that tension. And kind of to ensure that I'm getting a shit ton of tension at the bottom, trying to make sure that, like, in that bottom position, my forearms are as close to perpendicular with the cable as I can manage. And to really do that, I probably should just nudge ahead a little, but this feels nice. We'll go up a little bit. And goal here is to crank, but not make it too shitty, so we'll do our best. And if I finished that rep, it would have crossed into the too shitty category, so I'm okay with shutting her down there. Because now it is time to buckle up, kids, because the pullover machine is open, and this thing is so freaking sick. Because again, comparing this to a dumbbell pullover, like a dumbbell pullover is heavy here, but then gets really light here. And then on a cable pullover, it's really light up here, and then gets really heavy down here. But this machine is just heavy all over, and it produces a very nice feel. But I am slightly disappointed that I'm much fatter than the guy that was on there before me, because I really had to loosen the seatbelt a ton, but we're working on it. Up just a little bit for round 2, so hopefully I don't die. But pullovers have been another thing that's been really good for my shoulder health with all of the surgical history I had before powerlifting, just because this overhead position used to feel insanely vulnerable, but building it up with pullovers is actually what opened up my ability to actually overhead press, because there were many years where that wasn't an option. So I'm stoked to have built these up, and I'm really stoked to have this machine to keep on pushing them further. Like, that is indescribably good. And now we'll crank on some incline dumbbell fronties in that scapular plane, trying to touch that bottom end, get a little bit of stretch, not for the sake of stretch median hypertrophy, but just to make sure that coming out of that lengthened position, everything in the shoulder is nice and strong and capable of handling it, because, I mean, we got to be strong in the bottom of bench press, right? And it's like the cable is sick, but these are also sick, so running both in the same week, I'm totally fine with, because the front delts do definitely need all the touching they can get if 25 pounds is this hard right now. And I'm always like feeling my chest on these just to try to make sure that my pec isn't kicking in to help. And got a couple fingers in the front delt too, just to kind of make sure that it's contracting really freaking hard, because just like feeling the muscle that's trying to work. I know like mind muscle connection probably a little bit overrated too, but I just find that if I'm like feeling it, aware of it, I can do a better job of making sure I'm touching what I want to touch. And going up to 30 on set 2, simply for the sake of saving time, because heavier dumbbell is going to mean less reps. Also, more dead space that I have to fill by talking through the set. So, yeah, I ran out of stuff to say. Gotta shut up. Oh, these are so good. Stoked. And we'll hop back on the Smith machine for the side bench today, because unlike last week, not feeling so depleted that I think I need to use the cable just to not die. So we'll make sure we're working a little bit harder. And like my goal with these is to get torso bending, but I'm also trying to like translate my hips laterally. So I'm pushing off the TFL, pushing off the glute med, pushing off the glute min, and getting obliques to work alongside of them, because that's kind of how they got to work during a squat and a deadlift. So we can get some good practice, I guess is the word I'm looking for, in for that. Good call on not being lazy, because this is much gnarlier than the cable felt. Gonna do another set there, but probably not gonna film it again. And I think the most astounding part of dieting the last 11 months for me is thinking back to the previous times when I have dieted and I had quit because it felt too hard, because I would let days like this get in my head, and I would let days like this like ruin the training session and ruin how I felt about my progress. And it just got in my way so much, just because I was thinking myself into a pit of just doing worse and worse and worse, because I thought that if I went into a session feeling like shit, that the session had to be shit. But learning to do just what I was talking about at the beginning, where I'm going into an open mind, I'm doing the best that I can, and I'm just making sure that all of the work that I am doing is of as high quality as I can manage. And it really is shocking at how well I'm still able to train. It's like, yeah, no shit, the levers are really, really, really wonky. My barbell stuff is going away fast, but I also realize that I don't need to care about that, because as long as that accessory work is cranked, like, we're gonna be more than okay. And if you are someone who is trying to make major changes to their lifting, whether it be dropping weight classes, whether it be making huge technical changes because you were lifting like shit before and we got to figure out more efficient positions, like, you got to be okay with taking some steps back and weight on the bar in the short term, because if you do everything right and you nail execution on all the little stuff that's going to build you back up, like, you're going to be more than okay. And there's one of the guys on the team right now that was, you know, squatting, deadlifting, like his back looking like a J almost, being just super overarched. Like, I'm trying to teach them how to stack better. And the problem with learning to stack when you've just been overarched your entire career is that it's going to feel weak as shit. Things are going to work that aren't used to working, and we need to just stick with it, because if you can unlock that better stack, better brace, and bring up the little stuff that isn't there right now, you're going to be so much better off in the long term. I think that's the biggest thing I'm trying to do with these vlogs right now, especially, is just reinforce that big picture, reinforce that it's not one training session that makes your career. It's not one training session that makes a meet prep. It's not one training session that makes your training weak. It is your ability to just stack session after session together so you can build momentum and push you forward in the big picture. And like right now, it doesn't matter that I am weaker than I have been. What matters is that even though I am weaker, I'm still putting my best foot forward and doing the work necessary so that when food comes back in, we're gonna be able to crank. So I think that's what I got for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And if you do need help with anything related to powerlifting, hit the link below, join the team, because it really is so freaking amazing for everyone in there, myself included, because it is so much fun getting to help people. See ya.